Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I feel like we're in an action movie here. The beautiful zoom, beautiful pan. I love it. Thank you so much. What?
Flanker! Look out!
He's a damage dealer. He's not a flanker, Dry Bear.
He's a flanker now.
Don't get. Oh, yeah, with
We're all flankers now.
Oh man, him and Pip, they can't do it. They can't stay to their class. Welcome everybody to the OB45 Patch Notes Show. My name is Rain Day, and of course you may be seeing a familiar face here. We have the lead character artist here for Paladins. His name is Wes. Welcome to the show, Wes.
Yes, thank you guys for having me.
Hey,
pleasure to be here.
It's great to have you, and of course we got some of the regulars as well. We've got our boy hi-rez Dry Bear. He's the lead designer of Paladins, and of course none other than hi-rez Pretty Hair. Wow, the trolls already begin here. He's ready to go. Meme that wink. So we've got a lot going on for today. It's a very, very exciting, obviously, patch. Everyone has been adjusting to the new legendaries that came out in OB44, and now it's time to get back onto the rhythm. Of course, 2017 is the year of 17 new champions, and so we may be adding another one to the roster here in just a second. But before we get there, we want to whet your appetite with some brand new skins coming out in the realm as well. And of course, the first one going to be Tyra Baroness.
Yes, this is going to be a rare skin coming out for Tyra. It will there's a head, there's a weapon, there's a body, so it kind of gets that full ensemble there. And just a chance to kind of get some love to Tyra. She only has recolors right now, so we're kind of looking to add some more onto that. But kind of a nice, red, black, spider-looking theme, right, Wes?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we really wanted to try to maximize the potential for the character to just look unique and different from the base version of her. As you can tell from some of the reds and some of the blacks, I think we were pretty successful in that.
Yep. I love the styling as well. The cape. One of the things that I kind of talked to when Garrett was designing Tyra, one of the ideas around it was that each time she gets a skin, you have this opportunity to kind of change the fur, change the cape, change the backing, tell a little bit about her story. What does this cape kind of say? What was the design process with this?
Well, this cape, maybe more so than others, is probably played back a little bit. But you're absolutely correct in the idea that we made a big emphasis in kind of narratively trying to tell a story with her in her character design. So if you see a creature in one skin, you could probably expect to see some kind of head in another skin.
Okay.
So you're on the right path there with that assumption.
Awesome. Well, it's going to be excited. Tyra Baroness comes into the realm. I'm sure I'll be picking that up right away, and you can actually get that through Colossal Chest only. That will be an exclusive.
So it's close to the Colossal Chest. So again, we're kind of reinforcing the fact that, the more you spend on the Colossal Chest, the more you get there, the more benefit you'll get out of it, right? So you'll be able to kind of have that stack, right? If you get closer and closer to the end, Drogo's skin was cheaper and cheaper to get there. So this one will only be available in the Colossal Chest, but it also kind of just be there going off and really just gives the people that get it that much more of an awesome chance to show off how unique it is.
Well, it's a great time to give her a skin because it is pretty much the first time we've seen her in the esports scene with legendaries coming through. She's
Mercy
back.
Kill.
Mercy Kill Tyra has been an exciting showcase of her talents and skills. So make sure you pick up that skin. I'll be picking it up in the Colossal Chest. Only 75 crystals for me because I've got everything else. I also work for this game, so that's the thing.
But since it's Colossal only, we probably shouldn't do just that.
Yeah, probably not just that, because that would be like, I want a new skin this patch, and I don't have the Colossal Chest maybe yet. I'm working on it. Well, how about we give something else to somebody who's been a little grumpy in the realm? In fact, he's always kind of grumpy. He's always a little angry. That's kind of just
ominous, right? He's got that kind of. If you were cursed, you'd be upset too.
I totally would. It would be a bummer. I wouldn't want to go through my day being cursed. But let's take a look at ANdroxus's new skin to be entering the realm in OB45. That is Exalted ANdroxus. Wes, kind of take me through what the design process was for this.
Sure. So we actually already had made the gun skin for this, and we really liked it and felt that it was worthwhile to go ahead and kind of complete the character with a full model. Obviously, we're going in a little bit of a tonal 180 with base ANdroxus.
A little bit.
And I think that's for the benefit. ANdroxus is a lot of dark colors, kind of beat up, banged up. And with this one, we really wanted to go with a lot of filigree and whites and just really clean them up a little bit. I think people will really enjoy it.
It's a chance to really expand out, right? Because we know that the Exalted pistol that already existed was something that people really liked, right? It was one of the kind of the more well-liked weapons for ANdroxus, and so by expanding on that, we like kind of took the whole character and brought it down. I think the blues in the arm really kind of capture that. And it's a nice way to split, but it's also a way for us to kind of bring out the rare tier of skins and allow those to kind of shine their own, right? Because you have Dreadheart Drogos and Pumpkin and these kind of really big themed ones. It's a chance to kind of have that in the middle ground. So this one will be available for direct purchase at rare crystal price. You'll be able to kind of get to pick that one up if you like ANdroxus. And if you already have the Exalted pistol, you're already a third of the way there.
Yep.
Awesome stuff. So ANdroxus, he's going to be Exalted in the realm. I know I'll be excited to grab that. And again, that is for direct purchase if you want to go pick that up right when the patch launches. So going into this patch, we've got a lot of things coming. We're still almost at the big reveal here, but we're not quite there yet. We've got some new things that I was actually playing on stream earlier today. Test maps. We're getting a brand new rotation of test maps coming up in this patch. Why don't we talk about those for a little bit?
So we have 3 new ones coming in. For those of you who don't know, under the casual setting, there are a test queue selection you can look at. So it's a way for us to kind of experiment with new maps. Some of these will never kind of get touched by the artist. They'll never kind of come out until they see the light of the day. But it's for us on the design side to kind of experiment with new ideas. We actually have some pretty interesting, crazy ideas in the pipe right now that we're working on to bring out into the world. So hopefully that allows us to kind of really see where you guys are looking, because anytime you finish a test map, you'll actually get a little survey that asks you, how was it? How'd you feel about it? And that helps us gauge which ones deserve the right to kind of be touched by our very talented art team. So
the survey depends if I
so
won
we're going to be
or
looking at, that's right.
5 out of 5 if I win,
looking at
0 if I lose.
Yeah.
No. No. You just
put in
forget
there.
forget who you played with, forget what happened. You give an honest opinion.
I do have to say, though, they do feel better when you win on them. They feel
Not you too.
I'm sorry, man.
Not
It's
you
just, I was
too,
like,
Evan.
and I knew it. It's the curse. It's just like, you know what, man? I don't know. That map is just something. And then I go like 14-0. I'm like, that is a good map. I gotta say, I love it.
Well, the cool thing too is that, especially for you two, right? It's a way for us to kind of get people to scrim on them too.
Yes.
Kind of get the esports side of it. So
Yes.
hopefully, the pro teams are kind of picking these up and testing on them, experimenting with them, because there's a chance that some of them may already be in production, kind of coming out to live, and some of them may not. So it kind of informs us that. But the first one we have coming up, we have dubbed Dark Crossing. And then one thing to note with these as well is they're not meant to be arted. They're not meant to be themed, right? These are kind of some experiments. These are just very basic kind of level designers are the only ones touching these, so don't look at these as arted at all. But we're just testing out the layout, the direction,
dark.
the flow,
Is that Andro's
how the
castle?
flanks go. Not anymore, because he's all
Exalted
He's all
Andro.
pristine now.
Yeah.
You know, he's got to have a nice thing there. The next one is going to be kind of revamp on Grotto. So Grotto was in the test queue prior. We did take some kind of adjustments and kind of look at the feedback you guys have been giving. We've been making iterations on this. So if you saw Grotto in the test queue about a month ago, this has been kind of retrofitted and increased and changed in different ways. So come back. And again, what we hope to see too is the community can be part of those iterations and see their feedback come to life as we start adjusting these maps. So looking at Grotto here is a really, really big one.
And there's one more, correct, that should be coming
That's
up.
right. This next one we're pretty excited about. So this one is codenamed Arid. It's kind of a little bit deserty, a little bit kind of swapping there, so that kind of piece to look at. But this one actually has an idea that personally for me I've been wanting to do for a very long time, and one of the level designers kind of took it and ran with it, and she's been doing a great job putting it together. It has a lot of boats on it. So it's actually on a shore. There's a lot of kind of basic boat shapes in there to test out what it would be like to jump from boat to boat and to fight on boats and how these kind of buildings would work. So all 3 of these are available in OD45 in the test queue. You actually, just so you guys know, you get full match rewards from test queue. So if you queue up a test queue with your friends, you will get gold, you'll get experience, you'll get mastery, you'll get drops of radiant chest, you'll level up. All that is this exact same as playing in a normal queue. So I really encourage you guys to go out, play the test queue, and give feedback.
Excellent stuff. So the test queue coming into a new rotation here in OB45. Make sure you check those out. I was playing on the stream. I'll plan to do some more in the future, and hopefully you all will as well.
And rate your conscience.
That's right.
Evan,
I will rate
your conscience.
I'm sorry.
God dang it.
I will. If you noticed, Wes has transformed here into a slightly less buff and slightly less haired version of himself. Unfortunately, though, the hair it just translated down to the
He
bottom.
just moved over there.
He's right over. Oh wait, no, he went over. Oh no. So okay, I'm sorry. I'm looking to my left.
Yeah,
man.
no.
But this
Freaky
is
Friday.
exciting, man. We got James Horgan here, one of the designers here for Paladins, mostly behind the scenes, but a lot of you know him from his Twitter personality and all the stuff he's done in the community as well. Man, he's here to talk about some. Well,
Some upcoming stuff.
Some upcoming stuff.
Yeah, some pretty cool stuff.
It's almost time.
Are we ready to rock and roll?
It's almost time, guys. In OB45, you knew a new champion was coming, but one thing that you asked for a long time ago, well before OB45, was a frontliner, and in fact, a specific gender of frontliner as well. It was a female, and now in the realm, in OB45, we would like to introduce to you Inara, the Stone Warden.
There she is.
Boom!
It's a pretty big one.
Bam.
So, just from the gameplay side, right? We kind of had this initial challenge, and I remember the day that we went to Wes and Thomas and we went to our team and said, you know what? We want a woman who is stronger and beefier than any other armored or massive tree in the entire game. And they kind of tilted their head a little bit. So, Wes, can you tell us a little bit about how'd you do that?
How'd you don't do that now?
Well, yeah, so there was definitely no shortage of unique challenges character design-wise with this character. So just to give you guys a little bit of a quick overview of her, she's basically a race of giants, right? So for her, she'd probably be on the at least average side. But for comparison to the rest of the characters, you could stack probably 2 Maves together and get roughly around her height. So she's
Wow.
taller. Yeah, she's taller than Fernando. She's a very, very tall woman. Race is basically a race of earthbenders, so she controls rock. Her skin itself is kind of a stone-like skin. With all those challenges of making a frontlines female that, would still be imposing and still have an elegance, I think we did a pretty good job. Just one other note, probably classify most of the race as being a very dignified, kind of stoic group of people. So, with all that said, the one other addition I would add on to this is that this one was a real collaborative effort among all the art teams. The environment art team contributed to this character as well, both with some of the stonework that you see in this image and also with some of her abilities.
Yeah, because you see the 5 floating rocks above.
Yeah.
You see that the weapon that you guys actually got to see last week kind of has rock pieces on it. And the fact that, she has that kind of outer stone skin and some of the abilities that James will kind of titillate us with in a moment are all very earthy, kind of foundational. So bringing in the team that makes all of our maps and makes those rock walls you see on Jaguar Falls and that kind of thing, that was right in their wheelhouse. So we had the opportunity to kind of bring them in and let them kind of go to town on that.
Yep.
Not only does she look unique, I think the big point for me was creating a front line that had that imposition, but also had the grace. You get a close-up here and you look, the flower in the hair, the flowing ribbon behind her, nestled under her arms. I really think that this comes together to add those small things that make her feel feminine, but make her feel strong in the same vein. And I think this is a really exciting introduction into the front line. As we've kind of talked a little bit about the art as well, we are soon to be getting into the character design. So, Kret, it is almost time to start talking about really what's next for this champion, how she actually starts playing.
Yeah, so the thing about this champion is we wanted to make a front line with these earthen features and the stone thing. But in terms of like a presentation personality thing, we also wanted to make her a woman, right? We don't want to, say, okay, we're going to make a female front line and then cop out and she's a very masculine female front line, right?
Sure.
Inara is a woman, and in fact, one of her voice lines, one of my favorite to write is she says, "What, you've never seen a woman before?" Right?
So you did write the voice back.
I did write the voice back.
Okay.
Yeah, she was a lot of fun to work on from that respect. But even more fun was going into the character kit. And I think the most obvious thing, right? If you're gonna have someone who controls stone, controls earth, you gotta go for the wall.
Well, there's a lot that you got to go for, and you'll see here. Let's take a look at her legendaries to start out. These are the 3 options she's got. Kret, kind of walk us through the 3 choices players are going to be able to make.
Sure. So on a fundamental level, we've got Mother's Grace. This is your default, and this is a defensive option. We'll get into what that ability does, but basically your defensive ability gets stronger. You're tankier, and you as a character are a little stronger. Similar to Fernando, he's got Formidable for that self-healing. Treacherous Ground, a little bit more aggressive.
Okay.
You've got a deployable that can cripple people in it, and this might not seem super powerful. It's just adding a cripple onto something, but it can be really, really strong.
Yeah.
And then finally, the wall is one of the most important parts of the character, and there's really only one thing you can do to make a wall better.
Make it up
More
often.
walls.
More walls.
More walls. Wall more often.
Wow. Yeah, I see. There's some people who definitely agree with you in this country right now. I'm not sure, but I definitely think that in this game, the wall looks beautiful.
That's
and
right.
Now we see her running around. Let's walk through just kind of her weapon first, and let's go through the left mouse button, the right mouse button.
Yeah, the weapon was
this.
fun because early on we knew it was going to be sort of this spear style, and one of the big questions was, well, what does a spear look like in Paladins? We did want it to be ranged.
Right.
So for this weapon, she actually fires 3 projectiles in a little burst. They're pretty quick. They're pretty big because they're these stones. And honestly, the damage is pretty good, too. She's a little scary. Rory has yelled at me repeatedly about that damage.
I've been there. I know. And so you see the 225 ticking up. This is called Stone Spear. And again, each point of ammo gives you 3 individual pellets, correct? So
that's right.
It's not just 6 pellets that you've got left. You've actually got 18 pellets.
Yeah, it's a total of 15 shots across all 5.
Got it. And so as she kind of fires into the wall here, she's got a lot of range. You said this is a projectile champion?
Yeah, it's a projectile champion. She's got some fall off, but the projectiles will basically travel across the entire map. You're not going to do full damage from max range because otherwise you'd just be standing on the point and making Kinessa's life a misery, and we want that to be Grover's job.
Exactly.
But yeah, so one of the other things that's really cool is we actually improved our tech on interrupts. So like if you get stunned halfway through a burst or something like that, you'll actually not fire the 3rd shot.
Oh, wow.
For this character, which is really cool. So a little bit more of interaction and precision there with how it would actually operate.
Yeah, and how to counter her as well. The right mouse button is complementary to this. You mentioned it was complementary more so to her first legendary that we have selected here. Why don't you walk us through what that does?
So I wanted a character, if you're going to have a wall, right? We know that's going to be a deployable. We've got a card to counter deployables. That's Bulldozer. That's established. So I wanted something that I didn't want to put a shield on this character, just like a basic shield by record, right? I want the counter of this character to be Bulldozer, and as you can see, this is the wall targeting here, right? So
that's the cue. So we jumped ahead of the game here, but let's talk about the wall since we're here right now. Because it's fine. We get to actually talk about both
it's
deployables.
Really the core of the kit.
And then go into the right mouse button instead. So I like that.
So the wall, man, we spent a ton of time working on this thing just to really make sure it works in all these different environments as best we could. And really the core of it is that you want to block something like a corridor or a route, you can. It's got some scaling logic there, so why don't you put it close to a wall? Yeah. How about there? Just drop that wall right there. It'll actually only spawn about half the wall in that case, so it's not going entirely through that wall.
Sure.
And it's a little bit more intelligent about those corridors and thoroughfares and stuff like that. Now, it's not going to block a payload cart. The payload cart will just go right through and actually destroy the wall. Fair warning.
Wow. Good to know.
Yeah, good to know. You can't block a payload cart. You can't be that tricky. But it's pretty good at everything else, and it does have health. You can destroy it. The entire wall destroys as one unit. But it'll basically let you block pretty much whatever you're looking to block.
And you see that has a little bit of a kind of a beefier target of health, right?
Yeah.
So if you don't pick up Bulldozer, it's definitely going to be more, either have all 5 teammates really focusing it down or very difficult for one person to just break
That's right.
through.
One person without Bulldozer, you can kill it if you're a damage character, and you can save some time. But really, once you get 2 or 3 people, that's when it actually is in risk of dying fairly quickly.
Now, there's another interaction with this wall that I'm actually really excited about.
Yeah.
You can actually knock people up at this wall. And
you can knock yourself up. That's
with
right.
The wall. That's what it is.
Actually on a card only, and I didn't see that equipped. It's not in the default loadout, so you will have to spend some essence on it. But it is pretty fun. If you're not knocking yourself up, though, why don't we show the little elevator properties that this wall has? And it'll just pop you right up. That'll work for you, your friends, even your enemies if you happen to place it right underneath them.
Look at that.
Yep.
Just wanted to get a more scenic view.
That's right.
I love it.
Yeah, and it'll get you, it'll get you up to places. It's not superior vertical movement, right? You're not Eevee or whatever, but you can get up vertical through places, unlike a character like Fernando or Makoa, who really has to take the stairs.
Now, taking a look at, obviously, this card as well, there's one thing. Can she actually run? I'm a Smite fan, so I play Emir. Can I run and actually look at my foot and then throw the wall down and block off behind me?
Well, let's try it. I believe you can. So you'll just go right through. And if you're even a little bit more careful with your targeting, you can actually, when you're running, place the wall, elevator up it, and go off the other side too. So you'll be able to run through a corridor, drop that wall underneath you, and you'll be just fine.
Now,
with that.
Now, we talked about the bulldozer a little bit. That's kind of a way to go for this. Just to be clear, you can get rid of this with bulldozer. That gives it the extra impact, and not wrecker, correct? So this is not
correct.
Shields is not a shield.
This is not a shield.
This is a deployable.
This is a deployable.
So
this character is 100% about deployables.
Okay.
Bulldozer is what you want when you're against Inara. Wrecker is not going to help you at all.
Okay.
It'll help you against her teammates, like
Sure.
Fernando or Torvald, not her specifically.
Got it. So let's move into her F. I know a lot of people want to see this now. It's called, I believe, Warder's Field.
Warder's Field, that's right. So you can drop this little deployable that slows and damages everyone in the vicinity, and it's this little stone that pulses up and down. And it actually lasts a pretty decent period of time.
Yeah.
I believe it's around 6 seconds by default.
So the goal of this is it's an AoE slow, and obviously this is to just create more control for Inara on the battlefield.
That's right. Our maps are set up so that if you wall one path, there's generally another way around.
Mm-hmm.
But if you put your Warder's Field in that way, then they have to choose, do they destroy the wall and go that way, or do they walk through the slow field that is fairly damaging? And one of the big things is that it's going to make sure that since they're slowed, you're going to be able to hit most of your shots.
And the other thing, so maybe we could just see the effect of the impact on the walking. So maybe just walk from side to side straight, and now you can see how dramatically she's actually slowed.
It's pretty big.
If we see that maybe one more time, you can see it's a very significant slow when you get that in there. So it could be deadly if she walks up to you. The other thing to note is you can't deploy this at range, right?
No,
you have to actually
this is going to drop right at your feet. It'll be a little bit in front of you. But yeah, it just drops right underneath you to make sure that you're really getting anyone close to you. If you want to block off a corridor, you're going to have to be there.
Now, remember, you have that legendary that we talked about in your kit. And in terms of this, now not only slowing, if you add the cripple on this, that means no movement skills can be used. That could be devastating.
Yeah, so because before we put in that legendary, right, one of the things is that, like, okay, I'm really good against characters that don't have vertical movement, right? I can trap them in, I can slow them, and if you catch someone where you've walled off the back and they're slow, they have to run past you, they're in for a bad time, right? But a character like Drogo's, they don't care at all.
Right.
Unless you can get a chance to cripple them, right? Then you cripple them. Drogo's players, man, when they're crippled, they kind of start to panic a little bit. You wall off their escape, and you can really lock someone down and help your team secure that critical kill. Because Drogo's is often one of the most important targets in a team fight, right?
So you have the synergy of what Torvald got with the silence, and that could be, we saw oftentimes that may be looking at as a counter for Maeve or other highly mobile champions who want to get in, get out, but then, oh wow, my movement skill's down for a second and a half, and I get blown up. This is another opportunity to deal with them as a front line. If they ever do step into the danger zone,
that's right.
You get in, but you may not be able to get out.
But it's not a ranged ability at all. It's
a
very visible thing. It's a thumping stone that has a sound in the world. So either they've moved next to Inara, which honestly is probably just a bad idea. You wouldn't go near Mikoa, don't go near Inara either. Or they've managed to get cornered and have to run through this field.
So this goes in synergy with the right mouse button. And
that's right.
It's quickly we could talk about this. This doesn't have as much visual effect to it in terms of what it changes with the deployables, but it has a very big impact on the game and Inara's pacing and control.
So for Inara herself, we wanted to make sure that she could defend herself, and this ability, Earthen Guard, is you're going to bring your stones forward. Let's see it in 3P2, and you're going to give yourself a nice meaty chunk of damage reduction, where you can get 30% by default, see the stones spinning around her, and then another 20% on top with the legendary. That comes by default. So you're going to be very hard to kill for those 5 seconds. Good timing of this is going to be critical for Inara players to stay alive.
And this also means that her deployables are receiving 50% damage reduction as well.
So, a lot of times you'll just want to wall and deploy your Warder's Field, and you're not really thinking about it. But then you see a ruckus ult coming at you, right? You throw up your wall, you turn on your damage reduction. It's going to affect your deployables too, and their health will suddenly go that extra mile. Because really, a wall without without Earthen Guard activated, ruckus is going to tear through that in like a second.
Sure. Sure. So we kind of get the core kit here. I know people are excited to see the ultimate now. I don't want to show it just yet. I want to set this up. So if you could stand on top of your wall or push yourself up.
Yeah.
And then ult down. So you're going to have to go.
Let's do it. Oh,
there
I love
it is.
it.
There it is, the ultimate there. I think seismic
crash.
Oh my God. Talk to me about what that is.
So
that is nuts.
Yeah, I saw the spear and I was like, all right, she's gotta throw it. That was the first thing that I knew that, and then I was like, okay, so what can that do? The big thing is that it's an AoE stun over a large area. It's 2-second duration, so it's, in terms of crowd control, it's, about at the level of a Grumpy Bomb, but it's an ultimate, which means that it's coming out instantly the moment she throws it, right? There's no delay on the actual projectile's explosion. It can hit in an area. It's long range. It can travel across the entire map, and not only that, but you're actually going to be able to have the projectile and the explosion travel through shields.
So that means there is no defense against this except positioning.
Except for another wall, actually.
Except for another wall.
Yeah.
So it actually will not go. It will hit a wall.
It will not go through walls,
but not go through shields. So if you have in your casual games another Inara, she can actually block this with her own impacts.
That's right. Yep.
Wow.
And actually, one of my favorite tricks, I'll show it to you guys here. Can you put up the wall, start the ult, there it is, and then ult and then drop the wall? I love doing that, right? So you have this wall in front of you for cover, you throw your ult and then just drop the wall at the last second, and it's just out of nowhere. It's a complete surprise. Absolutely love doing that to Drybear.
So she has
all the time in playtest.
She has a potential knock-up. She's got a potential slow. She's got a slow and potential cripple. She's got a stun, and she's got damage reduction for everything that she's doing with
I mean,
that.
she's a total beefcake, but here's the thing, right? Like, in her kit and in her cards, there's no movement speed. None. No movement speed card. She's never going to walk faster unless you buy Nimble. That's pretty expensive.
Yeah.
When you think of, tanks. I love master routing on tanks, so I'm
Kronos
always
as
back in
well.
the fight. Cronus is fantastic for the lull and the defensive. Morale boost, you've got a great ultimate. It's going to be a tough choice, and really, she's not someone who's going out of her way to really chase down those kills because she's not that fast.
Absolutely.
She'll wall you off if you're in the bad spot, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think she's really able to go and catch you.
And again, it's not necessarily about the amount of damage that it's doing, because it does a very limited amount of damage, about 200 damage per target.
It's really about the stun.
It's about the CC. It's about her being able to get 600 damage
That's
or
right.
more off onto you with her shots right after.
If there was like someone really powerful in the game, let's say a Maeve going like 13-0, you got to shut her down.
Exactly.
Right? Hit the stun, you can probably kill her yourself, especially if you got the cripple field. But you're using an ultimate for her, and otherwise, you're probably gonna have a hard time catching her.
Well, James, this has been an exciting showcase, man. I'm so riveted by the way Inara is, and when you play her, we've play tested her. She's just been a fantastic joy to play. Maybe not to play against Drybear. I know you've had some moments where you've said she's really strong. What do you think Inara is going to bring the most to the battlefield here going forward in OB45?
So I think the big thing that we started out for when we were making Inara was we really wanted to actually create, like I said, our mantra is always, every time we make a new champion, we should be expanding the meta. We should be allowing team compositions to flourish in different ways and give you different options when you feel like you're building a comp and you need an out in a different direction. So Inara for us was to create a frontliner that didn't necessarily require a wrecker counter, or if you were trying to get 2 frontliners in one team, or maybe even 3 with a weird comp, right? You could pick Inara because it would actually balance out Bulldozer and also get wrecker in the mix. And so that's kind of the big core for us. We wanted to make sure we got that. So with the 2 deployables, and the fact that she doesn't have the shields, she still protects. She still has the opportunity to block the front line, cut off flank routes, and be present on the point, but it allows us to really kind of split there. So I think from that standpoint, it'd be really good. But also the fact that she can really just kind of disrupt characters that really need to be able to get away, right? She gets on top of someone, she puts the warder's field down, she can slow people down, she can disrupt the fight and kind of traffic control in that way, which makes her a little bit different than almost any character in the game right now. And then you put the ultimate on top of that, which means that if she traffic controls properly, she can throw the ultimate down, get the stun, and actually just disrupt the whole fight, right? So we can see some really cool things coming from that. But from that, I actually really like the way her voice pack turned out.
Ooh, well, let's take a look if we can. Let's listen to Inara's voice pack coming in with the new champion.
Let's make sure we get a woohoo in there. It's my favorite.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Hail. Hail. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. Mother, watch over you. Mother, watch over you. I am immovable. I am immovable.
Great. Well, that's a sample of some of the lines Inara will be bringing in. Very graceful, very proper, it seems like, as well. And, of course, that is the new champion, OB45. I'm excited to allow my games a chance to have her in them. And, of course, Bulldozer being right up in the meta here. And of course, I do have someone to my left that appears to be in deep prayer. Are you praying to the church?
Welcome to the balance section.
It's the dark. Do you have something that you want to say with this, or is this a foreboding section?
This is inner pretty hair.
Nick, the way you're approaching this makes me think that we've got like scary things coming up. Like it's normal balance, right?
Makes you think that maybe we've buffed Maeve a little bit more. Is that what you want? That's what inner pretty hair wants.
Well, let's see if inner pretty hair gets his will. You could do the whole set in that if you like.
That's not what's happening.
We'll see, man. So it's time to talk about. Welcome to the show.
That guy's a real dick.
Welcome to the Bounce Show. I'm glad you came here and you made yourself known. The real hi-rez pretty hair is with me with balance. Esports man with the plan.
Just balance, just and righteous.
It's right, and we're
nerfs and buffs.
We're trying to make sure that the community feels warm and that we feel warm as an esports
Chat's
scene.
freaking out. Chill. I'm just kidding.
Chill, everybody.
I'm just playing.
Please. So let's start at the top as we always do. ANdroxus. Nothing's happening. He's getting a cool skin.
The guy.
All right, Barrick.
Just looking fresh.
This is huge. Architectonics. We're getting updated card descriptions for this.
Yes. So
And
now you know what they
tinkering as well, dude. That's it.
Now you know what they do. So, which one's first? We'll start with whatever one's first.
Architectonics.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the turret one. So
Okay.
basically, specifically, it'll list what it does now. It's 30 more damage as well as the turrets move from projectile to hit scan. And it on a reduced 3-second cooldown. Those are the specifics of what
You
the
should have been
legendary
able
does.
to know by just better turrets from that. Come on, guys. All right. Tinkering. Let's talk about the blunderbuss. What does that do? That's got to be something just obvious, right?
Yeah, so it's just a tighter spread and less fall. So it's going to be more consistently, you're going to be getting closer to that 600 damage mark.
Got it. So just a little bit less leeway for those bullets to spread out on you.
Tighter
Just
spread.
Keep
Tight.
it there.
Keep it tight.
Keep it
Tight like a
tight,
tiger.
mate. All right.
Cream gravy.
Dream gravy. All right. Now we got Bomb King coming out. Bomb King actually just fixed a bug where Poppy Bomb would knock back for more if it was detonated before hitting a surface.
Yep, a lot of weird knockback stuff, but now it's fixed. So hopefully be more consistent across the board.
Sweet. All right. Buck. This has been a man of many conversations lately. We saw kind of a rise to Buck here in this meta with Bounce House Buck. He actually skyrocketed a very, very high value in
Mobility
a lot of esports
meta.
teams. We like the style of Bounce House Buck.
Oh, it's so fun.
And I think a lot of people agree that it's a fun play style. What we do want to do, though, now it seems like, is increase the cooldown of Heroic Leap by 2 seconds.
Yeah, so the idea
what's that
here,
gonna do?
Yeah, Bounce House, it gives you that second leap charge, right?
Okay.
Which is good, which is fun. Everybody likes that. But we wanted to kind of bring that more in line because it felt like not only do you have 2 jumps, but when you have charges, you always have one of your jumps on cooldown, which kind of brings the cooldown overall down, right? And what we wanted to do is kind of bring that more in line, balance that a little bit more without hurting base Buck.
Yeah.
So now when you take the legendary, the cooldown of Heroic Leap will go up. So it'll feel kind of like a base Buck jump, just you'll have 2 of them.
And so this is actually only for the
Only for the legendary.
So
Base Buck does not change.
Exactly. So you could still run like a net shot Buck or a recovery Buck and still have the same normal kind of cooldown and adjust that with leg day as well. And not running leg day, actually the cooldown will feel maybe a little longer, but definitely get that card in your deck if you want to do the best you can. Drogos, combustible. Fixed a bug just for combustible where the damage over time effect was dealing true damage.
Here you go. Now it can be mitigated.
I wondered why it was so strong.
Blast Shield Boy. That's why I lost the 1v1.
That's right. Well, there's another
bro.
reason why, and we'll get to that in a second as well. Fire Spit. You fixed a bug where sometimes Fire Spit would appear to hit a target on the client, but not hit them on the server.
Yep. Bunch of funky technical stuff that's pretty over my head, but
Cool.
it's fixed.
All right, now Eevee. Now this relates to our 1v1 a lot more. Ice Block
Yes.
now grants immunity to all debuffs.
Yeah. So the big thing here is the Ice Block Legendary.
Yeah.
It heals you, right? And
Sure.
so a big important part of that is for Cauterize. It needs to cleanse Cauterize. Now it will cleanse Cauterize. The second you go into Ice Block, even if you get Cauterize before you go in the Ice Block, you won't have to endure that 1.5 seconds out of your 3-second ice block to heal up. So now you'll get all that effective healing, that full juice that you're out here looking for. That's why you're running the card.
That's
We're
right.
gonna give it to you.
We're going to give it to you. All right, so ice block, a little bit more in terms of doing its job. And
All
against,
debuffs will be cleansed. It's not just cauterize. Let's just make that clear. It's all debuffs.
Yeah, just to get the value, whether it's damage over time from poison bolts or something of that nature. Grok, let's talk about him. He's also jumped up
buddy.
in terms of discussions lately, and he's been a lot of fun to play as well. Don't want to hurt him too much. I'm just... This cord's getting unruly. So Shock Pulse will now only slow each target once per cast. Now talk to me about that. Is Maelstrom Grok still here?
No, yeah, he's fine. It's gonna be fine.
What is the change?
The frustration there is, I believe it's 10 bounces total when you're running the legendary. So what we're avoiding with this change is, say you get hit by the first bounce and it bounces all around your team, and you're being slowed that whole time. You know, the slow's lasting, and then you get hit by the 10th bounce, and then you get slowed for another 3 seconds. You're just like, oh my god, I can't move. And the reason this doesn't really hurt Grok is because if you are running the build effectively, if you're hitting all your shock pulses, all your lightning staff ticks, your cooldown's going to be so low anyway that you're going to be sending fresh shock pulses out into the team fight very, very quickly. This is only for just unfortunate, like that guy in the backline, that's when you're picking off the Kinessa in the backline with your shock pulses, that she doesn't get slowed twice.
Making it a little bit less of the ability doing everything for you and more of you have to now.
Right, now you have to be running the
make it
build more
happen.
effectively to get that control over the team fight.
Got it. All right. Well, great stuff there. Totemic Ward, updated card description to indicate that this card increases the healing totem by 20%, which a lot of people didn't know. Picking up the legendary Totemic Ward actually gives you 20% more healing as a Grok main. So kind of a hidden buff now made aware to most people. All right. Time for Grover. Deep Roots.
Yeah.
Fixed a bug where the minimum I knew this was happening. I was like, this feels longer than 0.5 seconds. Fixed a bug where the minimum duration of the root was 1 second instead of half a second.
Yeah, so in our game, even with resilience, when you pick up that item, the crowd controls have that minimum duration of half a second outside of the Pip Ultimate, which is obviously a minimum of 2, down from 4.
Sure.
And it just, the Grover root wasn't being affected by that. It was only being taken down to 1 second. So now it'll come down. Once you buy that resilience, you'll get it down to 0.5 seconds.
Are you ready? Do you know what letter we're on?
M?
All right, guys.
M, boys.
We've heard you. We know that you want to nerf Maeve. And we're not going to mess around. We understand that she's been performing very well in casual play. We understand that she's almost given a lot of tools to do what she needs to do very quickly and easily, and it can be frustrating. What we want to do here is to make sure that Maeve still stays a very fun champion, but we want to make sure that she also stays a fun champion to play against and feels counterable and feels that if a great Maeve is doing great things against you, it's because that Maeve is a great player, not necessarily just because Maeve is a better Far Beyond champion than the one you're playing. So, let's get into it.
We doubled the damage of all her knives,
Yeah.
tripled the damage of pounds. Now eliminations will reset the cooldown of 9 lives and refresh your ultimate.
Yes. So, here's what's happening.
Fair, right? That's pretty fair.
I think that's pretty fair. But there's another alternate universe, not in Dark Pretty Hair, that something else happened.
No,
so,
just kidding.
9 lives. No longer heals Maeve by default.
Rip. So
But-
the 500 base heal has been moved.
Yes, but you still can get it.
It's there.
Now, it's still there. We'll talk about where it went in a second, but it has been removed from her base kit. Pounce. Reduce the damage from 600 to 500 and reduce the range from 70 to 50.
Yep. So Pounce was just, it's not only is it extremely long, but it contributes to a lot of her bursts, which is a lot of the frustration around the character for new players. If she sneaks around on you, she is a very loud character, albeit she has some of the best sound cues in the game. But when she sneaks up on you, she can get a lot of burst off on you without you noticing. And now this 100 damage nerf, it's big, and it's going to give you more time, right?
Yeah.
It's going to effectively reduce her burst against you before you can take an action, take a reaction.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to escape more often from her off the back of that.
Now, we're not done. Okay. Prowl.
We're far from done.
Reduce the movement speed from 80% of Prowl to 65%, so 15% movement speed reduction, and increase the cooldown from 9 seconds to 12 seconds. So essentially, I think
Yeah. So this is
Less prowl and less fast.
Yeah, part of this is good because she does have 9 lives. She does have the ability to reset her cooldown. So the longer they get, it doesn't feel super bad in either way. And it also more of the frustration was coming from she is very fast, and it's hard to punish, right? Because she only gets taken out of pounce when she does damage. So if she's not choosing to fight you, she can just run away and be incredibly fast the whole time. So now she'll be able to prowl less.
Now, we talked about where's that healing, right? A lot of the kit and a lot of the way people are used to playing Maeve is that you go in, you throw your knives, you dash, and then you reset with 9 lives to be able to do it again or escape. The healing is still there, but it's not going to be in her base kit. It's going to be in a legendary, and that legendary is called Artful Dodger. Now, last patch when we actually did nerf Maeve last patch again before this.
We nerfed the cooldown on her pounce.
A lot of people still said it doesn't matter. There's a net buff because she gets the elimination reset. And so who cares if she can pounce less, right? She can just eliminate me and get a free pounce. Now, you will have to be making the choice. Do you want the healing to play like old Maeve, or do you want the pounce reset and give up the healing?
Yeah, so now not only does it nerf her base kit a little bit to make the sustain a little bit less frustrating to play against. I myself was just always grabbing Cauterize against her because 500, that's almost a third of her entire HP pool that she's able to heal herself up. And what this also does is make that legendary a little bit more attractive and a little bit more easier to utilize, because in a lot of situations it was pretty niche. You know, personally I would only pick it up against like really good Shaolins that I know we're going to be hitting consistent Impaler arrows, but now this will be much more easier to pick up because not only will you get the CC immunity, which is kind of that niche thing, but you'll just get that base 500 healing, which is almost a third of your HP.
And the other thing I do want to make sure people are aware of going into this is that, yes, okay, there's a lot of things, there's a lot of pieces of paper. We made a big dramatic deal about it. We want to let you know we're listening to the community. But the other thing is we play this in playtest. We know what Maeve does. She's still very effective at being able to do her role. What this means is that Maeve is going to have a little bit less wiggle room when she doesn't do it correctly. So for someone who's never played Maeve before to just come in and own a game, it's going to be a little bit harder for her to do that. She's not going to be able to dash maybe as much effectively and clear as much space, get over those gaps where you lose sight of her. She may stay very, very visible so that there's still a counter opportunity. But if you are a good Maeve, this should largely not change your playstyle very much, especially at the higher tier where we see Maeve consistently fall off in terms of her effectiveness because she has counters. She does. The community's still learning how to deal with it, but we want to make this a little bit easier for the casual perspective. So rest assured, Maeve is still very fun, still feels very much like Maeve, but this will mean that
she's more punishable. She can
she's
make
a little bit more
mistakes
punishable. Exactly, which is important in a game like this where counters are, you know, the key, the lifeblood to having a good time.
Yep.
All right, so that's Maeve, guys. Go check her out. Again, played her in play test. She's far from dead, but this should hopefully
she got
help.
hit pretty hard.
But this should hopefully help to bring her in
she
line.
got the old dry bear sucker punch.
And we'll see where it ends up being. Still a lot of fun. Pip.
I just like pictured in my head Dry Bear taking the champions out back behind the studio and just beating them up.
See, that's not Dry Bear.
Take them out back and beat them.
I feel, yeah, okay. There's another way to go.
Never mind. Moving on.
Okay, so Pip. Pip actually has the healing potion, an adjustment here. We reduced the projectile size by 50%.
Yeah.
It may seem like, is that a buff or a nerf? It allows it...
Quality of life.
Yeah, a quality of life. That's the thing. So allowing it to travel through space is easier. Tell me, what is the quality of life for this change?
So
and
the
why
thing
it was put
here,
into place?
what that was brought up to me about, I was watching my boy Dosups, right, and he was trying to heal his teammates on Pip, but he was hitting things. He was hitting clones. He was hitting doorways, stuff that he wasn't really trying to aim at because it's got that fancy quality detonate feature now where you can blow it up as soon as it gets near your teammates, and that. You know, we want to let you be able to utilize that, and you know, we have faith in your aim. So making this smaller means you can thread the needle a little bit more and get the healing potion to where it needs to go, and not kind of run into stuff on its way.
All right, so that's going to be a very important quality of life change for Pip.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got Torvald.
For all you Pip healers out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Few as you may be.
That's like just the lowest. The lowest amount of people in Paladins right now, especially watching the stream. There are tens of them. Maybe even ones. Torvald here, reduce shield health from 6,000 to 5,000.
Yeah. So Torvald he's kind of an early game monster, right? Until those wreckers get online, he is kind of a beast, and he's terrifying, especially newer players that they're maybe not picking up wrecker every game. They don't know how to identify when it's a good time to pick up wrecker. It's so punishing to play against this monster that has this huge shielding. Maybe you don't have the right team comp, and he should be able to just run you over in the early game. And it actually does a couple of nice things. So it takes 3 recharges to get your shield, or your old shield back anyway. Now it'll almost top off the whole thing, which is basically where you were anyway after 2 recharges. That's where you can kind of realistically expect to get off in a team fight. So just to be a little bit less punishing in the early game and more forgiving.
And again, if you're in the newer phase of the game, you mentioned a great point that teammates may not pick Wrecker, which is the direct counter to him, which is the intention of that card and his style. And so this will feel a little bit better if you don't have teammates who are on the same page as you. The other thing about it, too, is that Torvald has highly been, I think, one of the champions, as well as Ruckus, that we've kind of seen as off tanks, right? Tanks that kind of support the team dynamic. And again, part of what Torvald does, and I think as a discussion, is he protects his allies well. He's from the back lines, being able to do things. He's a great secondary tank. He's a very good disruptor, and kind of makes the fight go your way more. Not necessarily stands there and takes all the damage, just like Fernando
he wasn't
or somebody else.
He's not supposed to be that bully in the front line.
Right, and
just
so
beating you up.
I think this is a little just gearing towards that messaging of how Torvald is intended to be played. Tyra.
War Doom.
So Tyra, Firebomb. Fixed the bug or Firebomb's damage over time effect would not last its full duration. Now, what does that mean?
Yeah, so basically, the way Firebomb, it is an ability that if you stand in all of it, you will get 100 to 0 because it's percentage-based damage, right? And the idea was at its minimum, if you get hit, peg by it, and immediately run out, that you should take at minimum 15% of your health. And part of that comes off the back of the dot, so it'll put a dot on you, and as long as you're standing in the puddle of fire, it's going to keep refreshing the dot until you leave the pool, and the dot was not always lasting as long as it should. So now it will, and it will make the ability more consistent and more valuable.
And on the buff side of things, we see an increase in her legendary First Blood. Lifesteal increased from 20% to 30%.
Yep. So just being
Very
a
nice.
little bit more sustaining, a little bit more. She has no mobility, right? So this is a character. She kind of has to pick a fight, go all in, and just box toe-to-toe with you and try and do her best to come out on top. And this additional lifesteal is going to help her do that.
Now, there's another topic that has been discussed quite adamantly in Paladins, and that is Ying coming in. And she was admittedly performing very strong, and I think we could see that across casual, across esports, across everything pointed to Ying having a very, very good time with legendary cards, especially Lifelike. So Lifelike is going to see an adjustment this patch in OB45. Now, if you take the legendary Lifelike, you will see a reduction in healing of your illusions by 30%.
That's right. So this is going to be whether they're healing one target or healing 2 targets. They have the ability to heal up 2 targets, so they will still split the beam healing up, but only for 70% effectiveness, and doesn't, it was just too strong to just outright double the healing. So now you kind of have to make that choice. Do I want to be better at focusing down, or if you're taking 2 frontliners, maybe Lifelike will be a more good choice for you to take. Still going to be a strong card overall, though, but now we think a little bit more in line with some of the other throughput legendaries for the supports.
Yeah, and when you do think about it, I mean, it was essentially doubling her healing in terms of giving her the ability to heal 2 people at the same time. So this 30% reduction still leaves Ying largely in a good spot in terms of on the receiving end, getting more healing with this card and more accessibility for her team. That's going to do it for Balance today, Nick. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. A lot of things
I'll try to keep Inner Pretty Hair under control.
I see why Inner Pretty Hair came through, man. But yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, we have somebody else come back next time. It was very rude. Very rude. All right. So that was the Balance, guys. We're excited to get your feedback here. And again, we've had more transformations yet again. Somehow, Wes has turned into Kret, who is then left and turned into Alyssa.
You already lost me.
It happens.
I've been losing you, man.
Yeah, my seat's warm. I've just been.
Drybear's been here.
Just been sitting here. Listen to Inner Pretty Hair. Just throw some Drybear sucker punches over the way.
Yeah. So Alyssa's here joining us for our favorite segment of Patch Notes, Alyssa, community questions.
Yes, we reach out to the community every patch review to see what questions you guys have. So we've got a few of those today.
Awesome.
First question, will we see any changes in the competitive mode anytime soon?
So we talked about this in season 1, right? We kind of talked through how the rank system, we want to make some updates there. We want to be able to add in rewards. We want to be able to add in kind of a more of an adjustment to that and how that works. And when season 1 came online with as big of a system as the legendary cards and loadout cards adjustments came in, there was a concern that, resetting or kind of revamping the rank system right when that happened means that there could be some players that were kind of using legendaries that weren't initially balanced, like the Ying lifelike or something like that, to kind of get to different spots in the ladder. So we foregoed that for the launch of Season 1, and we're gearing up to be able to do kind of what's called a soft reset, which is basically kind of taking all the players and scrunching them down in their ratings and giving them a chance to kind of come back anew, but not necessarily reset back to the flat value, right? It's kind of keeps that scale, what they were, kind of brings it down and then gives you a chance to kind of refresh. So we're looking to do that. We don't really have plans just yet on when that's going to happen. We're also looking at ways to kind of make the rank system feel a little better, add rewards, special skins, special unlocks, and that kind of stuff into the rank system. That's kind of in the works right now, and we're hoping to share that soon.
Excellent.
Excellent.
Excellent. All right. Can we get some details as to the efforts being put into the anti-cheat?
Hey, wait a second. You're not saying their name. Rush Abattoir said
Rush
that.
Abattoir.
And by the way, super noob camper said the other one. Okay,
Gotcha.
so you're just really not giving the respect that
All
their
right,
names
I'm
deserve.
sorry.
Please say the names.
That's probably the greatest thing I have heard all day. That is awesome. So the anti-cheat, yes, this is something that we talked a little bit about it a couple months ago when we started bringing the anti-cheat online. We are currently actually actively banning thousands of players every single month. And I also actually want to take a moment, too, to kind of thank everybody out there that has been giving reports, because the reports that come in at the end of match and the player reports have been helping us tremendously, able to kind of identify those players and just kind of give them the boot right away, right? There's always going to be that initial there. But the big thing is, we have a big engineering team right now that is 100% dedicated to kind of building out the anti-cheat that we have and kind of adding on top of that laters. We also have been working very closely with Easy Anti-Cheat to kind of just coalesce that a little bit more every single day. So we're kind of actively getting rid of all instances of that. And we're also aware of some of the things that are kind of popping up. But, so far we're getting really close to that, just, feeling good.
Gotcha. All right. Oh, man, this is really small. There were a lot of chests.
St. Brew says.
St. Brew says.
Thanks, Ray, for reading the biggest font.
There were a lot of chests bugged in this season. Will we get a refund for those duplicate skins, cards, and voice packs?
This is something that you can probably answer too, but I mean, we did go through a round of kind of the essence refunds for the chests that were given out, and then also kind of covering all those pieces. So the refunds have gone out. More specifically, I imagine that St. Brew is talking a little bit about the fact that we do have an issue currently where cosmetics weren't giving a duplicate value of essence when they drop. We actually know who you are. We know who you are out there, so we're aware of what's going on. So we have a list of all the people that have that. Once the fix has gone out, which is kind of coming out later today, we'll be able to kind of refund all that essence that was missed. So we got a list. We're checking it twice. We're going to know who's nice and nice. Like that, because we have no naughty players.
No naughty players.
No naughty
I get
players.
it.
You know why? Because we have good anti-cheat.
That's right.
None.
He set himself up and just alley-ooped it home.
It was just Harlem
right.
Globetrotter style there, man.
Shout
All right.
outs.
I
All
like
right.
it.
If I don't, who's gonna?
Not me.
Last question by Dia Flair. What is the name of Maldamba's snake?
Yo, good question.
The hard question.
likes you.
All right, let's take some guesses.
Okay.
Evan,
Wakona.
Wakona.
Yeah. Like a girl.
Is
female.
he Latin?
Yeah.
He's got the feminine version.
Yeah. Sunday Wakona. It's like
okay.
Wakona's Day. You
Okay.
know? Yeah.
Nick, what you got?
Oh, Long Johnson.
O. Long Johnson. You know what?
Forehead.
We could make an adventures game.
Yeah.
Adventures of Maldamba and O. Long Johnson. Going from point to point and capturing and healing people, slithering around.
Stunning, really.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd play it.
What's yours?
There was a Twitter image of my head on his snake.
Okay.
And they
So it's
named it
Alyssa.
Ahissa.
Yeah.
Ahissa.
Hissa.
Okay, I can see that.
I get that.
That's pretty fire. Let's get some fire emojis in chat. Let's
Fire it up.
for our community, our fire
like
community
it.
manager.
I like it.
That's it.
That's
We
nice.
actually we did name the snake in Serpent Beach that's
No.
kind of hanging out in the water.
Oh, really?
It's just chilling out there. What do you think his name is? It's William.
William.
William?
Yeah, it's
That
William.
was my second guess.
William the snake.
Yeah.
He's got the thing. He's just out in the water, just hanging out.
He's fancy.
Yeah,
he's,
dude,
he's a
wow.
good guy. He's standing watch. Actually, you
Good
know
to
what? Let's I want to see the community come up with some names for the snake too.
Heck yeah. Let's make
Let's
a
start generating some. So we got a Hissa,
Yeah.
Olong Johnson,
Wakona.
and Wakona.
Yeah.
Hashtag
which is great.
Olong Johnson in the
Okay.
chat if you're feeling it.
All right. Olong Johnson.
All right.
Too hot here.
So that's all the community questions we have, but we also have a weekend event going on.
What?
Yes.
Talk
so-
to us. Talk to us.
Did it again.
Talk to
no!
us. Every time,
I need to
Alyssa.
keep a closer watch. She keeps doing all these events.
Giving away all this free stuff. I can't believe it.
So it is a free Radiant chest for every first one of the day, today through Sunday. So that's 9 over the weekend that you can get.
So it's 3, 3, and
That's not a factor
Three
of
more.
2. Dry Bear doesn't understand.
How do you understand that?
Foot.
I only have 3 toes.
Right.
Only 3 toes.
Yeah.
So it's either double it or triple it.
Apparently, we learned that there's a lot that we don't know about Dry Bear. A lot that we don't know about the maps. A lot that we don't know about the names of the champions here. A lot to discover. But, of course, we won't be discovering that this time. We'll have to wait till OB46, where we'll be back at ya. Might even have another new champion or something then. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
You never know.
As always, guys, it's been a great time hanging with you. My name is Rain Day. This is hi-rez Pretty Hair. That's been hi-rez Dry Bear, our lead designer. Of course, hi-rez Alyssa, keeping things hot in the community. Make it hot in chat, guys. And as always, remember to never give up, never stop gaming, and we'll see you all in the realm.